Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Blevin Robinson with West Coast Cajun Cuisine. And today's video, shrimp and lobster pasta. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here and you're interested in learning how to cook authentic Cajun cuisine, comfort food, and just about anything for that matter, then you've come to the right place. Click the subscription button and the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Now today's video, I'm going to show you a shrimp and lobster cream sauce that we're going to serve over pasta. You talk about delicious. And you could take this cream sauce and you could serve it over steak, maybe a tri-tip roast, a prime rib. Talk about delicious. But we're going to do it over pasta today and we're going to get straight to it. Let me show you the recipe and then I'll meet you in the kitchen. Alright, so we're going to change up the format a little bit here. Normally I'd have the recipe come across the screen, but I always had the recipe in the description box below, and I just felt that it was a little bit redundant, and I'm wanting to save a little bit of time on editing. So we're going to get straight to it here. Now I'm going to start off by making the marinade for the shrimp and the lobster. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and squeeze about a 1/4 cup of lemon juice into this measuring cup. Now from there I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of Louisiana crystal hot sauce. And then I will add about a tablespoon of my Cajun seasoning blend, which is the same Cajun seasoning blend I always use in my other videos. But if you're new to the channel, I'll go ahead and leave that recipe down in the description box below. And then I will add about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Alright, now that we have our olive oil in there, we're going to go ahead and give this a quick mix. And then from here, what we're going to do is add about a 1/2 cup of our favorite beer. Doesn't matter what kind you use, just use whatever you prefer. And what you should end up with is about a cup of marinade. Alright, so now that we've added the beer, make sure everything's well incorporated. And then from here, we're going to prep our lobster tails. Now, I just took some kitchen shears. I just cut right up the back of this lobster tail, peeled the meat out. It was kind of a pain. The second one, I figured it was a lot easier. Cut up the bottom, flip it around, cut through the top, same thing, and it was a lot easier to separate that meat from the shell. Now on the side, what you can't see is that the shrimp that I've already defrosted and peeled. And if you're here watching this video, I'm pretty sure you've peeled shrimp before. I don't want to bore you with that process. So I've already went ahead and defrosted and peeled them, and I got them sitting on the side. I just wanted to go ahead and show you how to prep this lobster tail, because from here what we're going to do is we're going to give it a rough chop. We're just going to cut it down the middle of that tail, and then we're just going to cut it into bite-sized chunks from here, and then we'll get ready to marinate. Alright, I have a Ziploc bag here, and this is one of these Food Saver vacuum seal bags, and I'm actually going to put the shrimp and lobster and marinade in here and vacuum seal it. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because it cuts my marinating time down about half. So once I vacuum seal it, I'm only need to marinate this for about 30 minutes to an hour. And if you don't have a vacuum seal, that's perfectly fine. Just put this into a Ziploc, throw it in your fridge for about 2 to 4 hours, and you'll be good to go. Alright, it's time to get our sausage prepped, and what I'm using here is a smoked andouille sausage. If you're not familiar with andouille, it's a smoked spicy Cajun sausage. Now you can use whatever smoked sausage you like right here. I love to use andouille. It just adds a nice flavor to this dish, a nice kick to this recipe. So if you can get your hands on some andouille, I would recommend you do so. And what we're going to do is just give this a nice small dice. I'm only going to use probably half of this sausage. About a cup and a quarter should do just fine in this recipe. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get our vegetables prepped now. I want to go ahead and dice up some onion, and I have a half of a medium-sized yellow onion here, and then we're going to give it a nice small dice, and I should end up with about a cup of diced onion. Now once I get this onion all cut up, we're going to move on to our jalapeno. I got a nice probably a medium to a large size jalapeno here. We're going to give this a small dice, and the goal here is to get about a quarter cup of diced jalapeno. Alright, once we get the jalapeno cut up, we're going to go ahead and move on to our celery. And the same thing, we're going to give the celery a nice small dice until we get about a half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of celery. And what you will not see next is the fact that I also minced up about 3 large cloves of garlic, which gave me about, I don't know, a tablespoon of minced garlic. Alright, I put a frying pan on the medium heat, and I placed about 3 tablespoons of butter in there. I want to get that melted, and when it starts to melt, we're going to add our vegetables. And we want to saute these vegetables for about 5 to 8 minutes. We want to get them to start to soften up and get a little color on them. Alright, after about 8 minutes or so, we're going to go ahead and add our andouille sausage. Now from here, I'm just going to give it a nice mix. I might saute it for about 2 minutes or so, and then what I'm going to do is add some freshly chopped thyme and oregano, about 1 teaspoon of each. Now if you're using dried herbs, then go ahead and use a teaspoon of dried oregano, but only a half a teaspoon of dried thyme. That dried thyme is pretty powerful and can overwhelm the flavor of your dish. Alright, after about 10 minutes of sauteing this, you can see our vegetables are nice and soft. Those onions are translucent. Now I'm going to add about 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. Now once I get that cream in there, I want to give this a nice mix. Make sure everything's well incorporated. I want that cream to come up to temperature and start to simmer. And then from there, I will add 1 cup of whole milk. Now once the milk gets in there, same thing. We want to give it a nice mix. Make sure it comes back up to a simmer. And then we're going to let this simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes. I want this to reduce down a little bit, thicken up, so that it makes a nice sauce. Because from here, I'm going to take the shrimp and lobster out of the fridge, put it into a strainer so I can strain out some of that marinade, and then we're going to add it to the sauce. Okay, now once we get that in there, probably another 10 minutes or so, we're going to cook this down till the shrimp get nice and opaque. In the meantime, I have some pasta on the side boiling in some water. I would recommend fettuccine if you have it. I didn't have any. I'm using spaghetti, but trust me, it's just as good. If you're interested in learning how to make your own pasta, I will leave a card up in the top here so that you can check that out. But the only thing left to do now is plate this up and enjoy. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, a Cajun shrimp and lobster cream sauce that we served over pasta. Now, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought. And next week, I'm going to bring you a crawfish boil. Now, there's a million videos out there on crawfish boils, but this one is mainly for the people that are outside of that Louisiana area, outside of that Gulf Coast area, and really want to try to delve into that Louisiana delicacy. Now, if you want to make sure you catch that video and you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscription button and that notification bell so you don't miss it. And while you're here, check out one of the other videos on the channel, and I'll see you there.